Hello fellow cinephiles, Film Guru here. Today I'm reviewing Gemini Man. This was directed by Ang Lee and stars Will Smith, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Clive Owen and Benedict Wong. And the film is really focused on Henry Brogan, played by Will Smith, an elite assassin who ultimately decides to retire. He's been doing it long enough and he doesn't want to do it anymore. He ultimately finds himself targeted for death, and he's ultimately pursued by a mysterious young operative that seemingly can predict his every move. He's like him in every way, and as it turns out, this particular operative is a clone of Henry. A younger, stronger, faster clone. It's ultimately about these two assassins' battle of will and going against each other. And it's really a race against time for Henry and Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character, for them to work out what's going on and trying not to die along the way until they do. And it ultimately leads to quite a confrontational ending. Look, unfortunately this film isn't great. It's not very well done, and it's disappointing because this has some really great ideas in it. About cloning and about super soldiers, about why people want to do this, and about what they're able to accomplish these days. And I really liked that. I thought that was an interesting concept and idea. I liked where Henry came from, and he was part of this group. But we didn't learn enough about them, or anything about them really. We could only tell that they were part of the same group because they had the same tattoo on their wrists. It just felt like we were thrown into this. We were missing quite a bit. We had no real backstory or no connection to any of the characters, and we weren't really drawn to anybody, and we couldn't feel emotionally for the characters because we didn't know anything about them. I think the acting is solid with what they got. I think Will Smith does a good job of playing the old assassin and the young. And I think Mary Elizabeth Winstead's solid, even though she doesn't have a lot to do. She's sort of good in the little role she does have. Benedict Wong's just wasted, and ultimately adds a bit of comic relief, and I would have liked to have seen a lot more of him and a bit more depth to him. Clive Owen's the unfortunately run-of-the-mill villain that we see many times, but his motives for what he's doing make sort of sense. This is a script apparently that had been floating around Hollywood for a number of years, and the technology wasn't at the place that they could ultimately do it until now. And in some parts the visual effects sort of worked here, like some great stuff shot in the dark, and we got some shots of his face, and he kind of looked kind of cool. But that wasn't the case the whole way through. There were so many times where it just looked bad, looked fake, and towards the end of the film he just becomes a digital character in many scenes, and I just didn't think that was good. It didn't look good at all. It just looked like a character from a PS4 game, and I just didn't really like the way that was done. Some of the action sequences I thought were solidly done. Unfortunately, most of the action sequences that take place are ultimately done in really close-up shots, and you can't really see much going on, and a lot of them are done in the dark. But I just felt those scenes you didn't really know what was going on. And there's one particular scene where Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character is getting attacked, and she's defending herself in this little small office. But we can't see enough of what's going on. It's too tight, too enclosed, and we just don't get a sense of what's happening. It's very hard to see. I don't mind Ang Lee, a lot of his early stuff. I'm a huge fan of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I like what he did with the Hulk. It was a film I had to grow to like, but I like what he did there. Brokeback Mountain's another brilliant film of his. But it just felt, I don't know, something was lacking here. It felt like he was more focused on the effects and the aging and digital work, the technical side, rather than the actual story. And I think that sort of suffered. I think there was too many cooks in the kitchen. A script has been written and rewritten many times, and there's a variety of writers on this. And I think when there's too many writers, it sort of takes away what you ultimately make the story into. A lot of the shots he has in this are just on one person as they're talking, and then it'll be another shot, one shot on the other person talking. It just feels a bit boring, and I got a bit over the way that was done and kind of frustrated. I felt like it was so enclosed, the whole movie, that we didn't really get to see the world as a larger element. We didn't get to see things in a wider frame. It just sort of sucked you into the thing, and I just didn't think that worked really well at all. It's a subject matter I felt could have worked a lot better as a TV show. They could have expanded a lot more on the characters. We could have learned the whole Gemini program and what it's about and how it was formed. In this film, it's all through exposition. It's about people saying it rather than us seeing it. Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character is kind of interesting, but they don't really do much with her. And she does have some great action sequences and fight sequences within the film. But I just felt for an actress of her caliber, they should have given her much more to do, or a much more interesting character, I think. I don't think we'll ever get to the point of making a digital character feel real or look real, because human beings, there's two nuances in the way they move, the way they look, and they just can't capture that as a digital thing yet. And I think that movies like this are kind of interesting, but because the technology doesn't make the characters very real or realistic, I think that lets a film down quite a bit. Final thoughts. Look, like a lot of Ang Lee movies, at the heart of this is about family. All his movies have a family element here. And this is sort of a surrogate family. It's really about creating their own family. Ultimately, this is just an example of technique over story. And look, I'm sure this film will find an audience. It is entertaining. You can enjoy this film in certain aspects. I'm going to give Gemini Man 2 out of 5. I thought it had some good ideas in it, and I like some of the characters, but it just ultimately wasn't a very good film. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit subscribe down the bottom. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. If you go to see this movie, let me know what you think of it. Otherwise, until next time, enjoy the movies.